Hello again, YouTube. This is Dr. Kendo, and I created Five Nights at Freddy's characters all over the place from 2014 to even just this year. I did one or two. But what you're about to see is a compilation, basically, of all the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 videos that I can find, at least from my channel. This was a crazy time. I'll keep this short, but coming off the death of my mom in 2013 and a lot of other things with the YouTube channel, Five Nights at Freddy's in 2014 was really a springboard for a lot of things, and actually the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 episode 86, which you're gonna see in this compilation, is actually still the highest viewed video on my channel. In single views, it has to be like 7 million at this point. But yeah, I met so many great people. I was also like bullied by people on Miiverse. There was a swath of people who just didn't believe that I could do this, and I ended up taking these videos right here that you are about to see and turning it into a history of a channel that would go on to just do amazing things. Silver play button. I'm a character in 3 video games. We helped so many people out. We did so many charitable endeavors every single year, and I came up with essentially a decades-long series that I'm extremely proud of. You guys, enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 in honor of the FNaF movie. Can't sleep. The Freddy'll eat me. Hello again, YouTube! I'm recording this the day after Halloween, and I'm freaked out because today we're actually doing the popular request, which was going to be uploaded on Sunday, as, you know, I traditionally do upload these Scribblenauts series every Sunday. But with the announcement of Mewtwo and Smash, we actually did a speed create of Mewtwo instead for this Sunday. So now I am delivering on my promise of the most popular character, i.e. the request that had the most votes from the previous Sunday's episode, and that would be Freddy Fazbear. And maybe we'll create the other animatronics. Who am I kidding? Of course we'll create them. But anyway, you saw that we started off with a golem as the source object, and I've kind of moved the arms around, resized the body a little bit, created a bow tie right there. We're gonna move that around once we have the head all figured out. Of course, just put head, i.e. the human head. Now, I know that their bodies and their hands and just everything looks really weird on these animatronics. You know, they're sort of look like they're poorly made, and of course they're very scary, with that being part of the reason. So I used this. It's a sticky hand, so if you see those weird shaped hands, those are sticky hand. You know, that's like the little hands that you would throw against a window pane or something and they would stick to it. You know, kind of imagine that. We use 2 dots for the ears, and of course here's a little top hat. Well, it's a top hat, and then I've shrunk it down to make it real tiny. We're kind of doing Freddy's stage appearance. You know, when he's up on stage, he's got the bow tie and the hat and everything like that. So yes, Freddy Fazbear, and he has a very scary looking face. So I do want to be sure and basically do justice for this. And you saw that I just took a piece of the 29-page library. You should definitely look closely as to where I got this. It's like a generic arm piece, and if you've seen most of the Sonic the Hedgehog type characters and stuff, I've gotten the same shape from those as well. Now, this next piece kind of proves that sometimes the most simplest of items or stamps prove to be the thing that I'm going to use. So just to get the crazy teeth, all I did was type in teeth, and then look at this. For the nose, we're using yolk and freckles for the little spots that are up on his nose. I really do like how this is all coming together. It's definitely going to look kind of really creepy, actually, not just kind of creepy. And especially with this, I'm putting eggs and just color them a little bit darker shade of brown, like a really dark shade, to put those behind the eyes. You know, the Freddy and most of the animatronics, they have really scary looking eyes too, not just their teeth and whatnot, but their eyes sort of have like bags around them, above them, below them, you know. So I think that those eggs will be a good little tool here that we can use to just make that dark baggage underneath his eye and over his eye. So you can see now that I've kind of moved that bow tie. I want it to be seen. You know, it probably is logistically a little bit higher up, you know, closer to his neck, but I do want it to be seen in our Scribblenauts creation, so that's why I kind of did it where it is right now. Of course, a series of dots. This is similar to what I do for a lot of eyes for many characters that I create. I honestly like that I use the dots. I think that it kind of gives more detail to the character rather than just having one black dot, you know, like how a lot of Scribblenauts default characters are. Use that same generic arm shape from the general 29-page library. That'll be for the eyebrows here, and I have to kind of rearrange everything. This is going to take a little while. The problem is, whenever you're using this generic arm shape from the 29-page library, it is hard to sort of grab onto the different things that are close to it, around it, basically positioned around it. So the various stamps that you're working with, you might accidentally grab the arm piece when you didn't want to, if it's around. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But here we are. It looks like everything is kind of coming to fruition. I am happy with that. I think that, we'll make a few more adjustments and whatnot, just sort of minor things. But a thing about Dr. Kendo commentaries that I like to do to just try to make things a little bit more unique and special, and hopefully help all of you out there, is to read fun facts or background information about whatever characters we're creating in the series here. So let's start it up! Freddy Fazbear is the main antagonist of the game Five Nights at Freddy's. Fan fictions have already popped up about the animatronic bear and the restaurant that he's in, called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And of course, there are numerous Let's Plays and varying styles of YouTube videos all about the game as well. It has a unique spin on traditional horror games, whereas it's kinda simple in nature, being that you really just sit in one place. But you've gotta be smart and quick while looking through the security camera monitor feeds to see if Freddy or any of his other animatronic friends have moved from their spots after the restaurant has closed down for the night. Oh, and did I mention? There is only a limited supply of power, so you aren't able to use the monitors for the entire night, but rather, you've got to use them sparingly so as not to completely deplete the power. The animatronics are all left on a free roaming mode or setting so that their servo motors don't lock up and stop working. If one of the robots encounters a human, they will automatically assume that it's a robot that isn't in costume yet and forcefully stuff them into a spare mechanical Freddy Fazbear costume, killing them in the process. And that just terrifies me. So, the game has received some high praise from critics, and it seems as though most of them give it an 80 out of 100 or a 4 out of 5 kind of score, mostly good. And perhaps it's because of this success that a sequel has been announced to be in the works, slated for 2015. Although in the sequel, they're apparently going to be removing those doors to either side of you, and this time, the player has to put on a Freddy Fazbear mask to avoid being killed, instead of just closing the doors whenever the animatronics are nearby, and I'm terrified. I am. I want these items to be scary in our Scribblenauts Unlimited and just add to their creepiness, so of course their behavior says that they will follow humans or people. That doesn't mean that they'll follow Maxwell, but if you just type in most human characters, they will follow them. Oh boy. So, let's go ahead and name our Freddy Fazbear. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Is it Fazbear or Fazbear? Or Fazbear? I don't know. I actually have seen one YouTube series, I guess, on this, just to see what this game was all about. I have not played it myself, just because I'm scared to death about what would happen. I don't know. I think I might piss myself. Oh, Lord. You guys would probably all love watching that. Not the pissing myself, but watching me play and get jump scared and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty epic. I think that, maybe it can move just a little bit faster. But another thing, actually, I was just thinking kind of about the aspect of the cameras, the security cameras. So I want to edit our Freddy here to be sure that he'll attack security cameras or just cameras of any kind. I don't want him to like being photographed or anything like that, I guess you could say. We'll put the emotion as well. So whenever he, of course, changes behavior, he'll attack the trigger target. And then when you press this whole thing, it says then it will express an emotion. We'll go over to the crazy looking one. Whenever you type in like crazy as an adjective, it shows kind of that swirl looking emotion thing. So let's actually see if that works out. I'm gonna go ahead and type in security camera. So here we go. Let's place it on, and yep, it looks like that works, of course. It's based on when he sees the object, so he will kind of go off of attacking it if he turns a different direction. And look, the human is afraid of him, and he had the follow icon, so that's good. So we've got that script and the security camera script, so now let's just see what happens when he fights. Okay, I should have created something maybe a little stronger than a bee. Let's go with, what do I do a lot of the time? I do a bull a lot of the time. Let's take another animal like a badger. I don't know, maybe that'll work. He's supposed to... Oh, I think he was about to do it right there. I've got him scripted to shoot a projectile of a microphone whenever he takes damage as well. But hey, time is money, and you can see right here on the screen that we've created Foxy. That's one of the other animatronics, and this is one that I had not seen on the YouTube series. I saw a lot of Chica and Bonnie. We'll get to them in a second. Foxy is created by a dancer as the source object, dragon feet painted the metal color, an Archaeopteryx leg on the torso that's painted metal to show the ripped parts in the chest, pirate arm, with the hook, the egg yolk for the eye patch flipped up, fox ears for those ears up top, and Deuce's legs, or is his name Duce? It's Maxwell's little brother named Deuce, D-U-C-E. That's the legs. But you can see the other animatronics here. Look at them all right there. That's scaring the crap out of me. So let's just dive into another one, and I'll show you how we created it. So now we've got Chica right here, and this is definitely terrifying. We've put a bib on there that says, I just put eat. You couldn't really put let's eat and make it fit, but I think that that's fine right there. It looks really good, you know. The teeth right there are just painted orange this time to kind of represent the beak. We've used an eyebrow on either side of the head for the hair pieces right there, but then this piece right here in the middle is, I believe that's pronounced Utapam, or is it like Utapam? I don't know. I'll spell it out for you on the screen here, of course, but you see the series of dots and whatnot for the eyes to make it look also creepy and scary. What else do we got? We've got pterodactyl feet down for the bottom, and then the capsule shape, you know, just a little line capsule right here, that goes right above the pterodactyl feet. I wanted to cover up kind of that bony part of the pterodactyl feet and just leave the feet itself, not the leg part. But yes, this sticks with the golem source object, whereas Foxy had the dancer as the source object. And Bonnie as well has the golem source object with the sticky hands and all that good stuff, but this time we've put down treant feet, and I've used those same Utapam that we had, or Utapam, on Chica for the top of Chica's hair, but then used that general 29-page library arm shape or whatever to kind of make that lighter pink that's on the ears. So that's how Bonnie has those bunny ears right there, and I've got the bow tie just painted red this time because, you know, Bonnie and Freddy both have bow ties on them. Again, if you are curious, this fourth page right here is where you can find that arm piece that I'm using. I'm touching it right now on the cursor. I know I play on the Wii U, so you guys can't exactly always see where the arrow is or anything, which part I'm touching in the game. But yeah, I hope you guys like them. This is insane. We're in the underline, which is this like subway level and everything. I just thought it would be dark and creepy enough to have our animatronics all running around. You can resize them. You can do whatever you want to them. You know, just use this video as a basis to create your own versions of them. Or you can create them exactly like I did. I don't know. Whatever you like. But I'm terrified. I don't want to look at this anymore. I appreciate everybody's attention and support. Next weekend for the Scribblenauts, or this coming weekend, I should say, I might be doing one from the list. You know, I had a running list before I started opening the requests back up to the popular voting system. I may need to go to that list because there's still about 20 or 30 that never got done. Actually, at this point, it's probably about 18 or so. So I think I'll grab one from that list, and so the popular vote will kind of last for 2 weeks rather than just one. So of course, you know, you can keep your requests coming, and it'll just be based on whichever one is most popular, but not until the episode after this. It's all probably going to confuse you, so you just do what you do and leave the video making up to me. But I will catch all of you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within.
Oh, God! Hello again, YouTube! It's Dr. Kendo, and I'm here again with Scribblenauts Unlimited to do some more Five Nights at Freddy's action because we need to create the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 animatronics. This is a continuation from the hugely popular Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics from the first game that I created back, I guess it was 2 weeks ago at this point, or maybe even 3. I can't even keep track of life and time right now. I'm just ballistic, and I'm really busy because Smash Bros. Wii U has come out and everything, and we're just doing a lot of stuff. So anyway, you will need to go back and have seen that first episode to learn how to create the ones that we are doing today. We're gonna do all of them, so let's start off with Toy Freddy. So obviously you just need to copy the Freddy Fazbear that we made from the first episode. Again, you must go back and see that. I will annotate to it several times, I guess, throughout here. Make a glue, so just type in glue, and actually you saw that we removed a bunch of the pieces of the eye. We also need to move his snout piece over to the side because otherwise it'll be really hard to grab and edit the stamps that you want to edit. Of course, a big part of the toy characters now in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 game is that a lot of them have cheeks, little rosy cheeks, so make sure that your Freddy also has a dot right there, painted red. That would be for the cheek right there. We did it just beneath and behind the snout right there. For Toy Freddy, of course, he's got the black eyes, and there's a little bit of a light glint, so I did 2 dots that are white in there in his eyes for the glint of light. I don't like his head actually being tilted sideways, so we're gonna do it right side up like this. He's got the microphone in hand. It's all good. We'll name him Toy Freddy. But I was looking at an image of him where his head was, you know, kind of leaning to the side. So if you want it to be like that, go ahead and do it how I had it originally. But I think it's gonna look a little bit better like this. And there is a little bit differentiation in the snout and behind the eyes coloring and whatnot. So please note that we did color that a different shade of brown. So let's move on now. We're gonna try to do this quickly because there are tons of animatronics that we need to get to. This this is going to be Toy Bonnie. We're, of course, copying the Bonnie from the first episode. Now, I'm very concerned about this, and I'm going to need to get maybe slightly creative here, and by that, I mean another word for that would be I'm going to need to be resourceful, because you could see that we're already out of stamp space. I knew that this was going to be a problem because the stamp space on the original one was a problem. You know, I didn't have enough stamp pieces to create the characters that I wanted to fully, to fully create the characters, basically, is what I'm trying to say from the last episode. So I know that this one, you know, we are trying to pack our resources and stretch them thin. Of course, we've replaced the behind the eyes part with eggs, and we've actually used spheres now for his eyes instead of just dots. The spheres are going to be a lot better just for the big, roundish eyes that they have in this version, I guess, for the toy version. Of course, a main difference is that Bonnie is colored blue now, so you will notice, of course, that he is now no longer that purple shade, but we colored him blue. We removed the sticky hands. You know, that might just need to be the way that it's going to be. I like the sticky hands being on there. It's just we have to pick and choose. I also removed the little 29-page library generic shape, the arm shape, up on the top of his ears. Bonnie used to have two up there at the top part of the ears too, where they bend. You know, and there's probably a better way to do those ears, so we'll investigate that in a second. I'm just sort of picking and choosing. You know, are we going to give him eyelashes? Because of course Bonnie also has these pretty little eyelashes to make him all cutesy. Does that sound weird? Yeah, that sounds really weird. So I put in basically this generic, the same shape that we used for the snout, and the ear pieces I have also used for his eyebrows. So let's see, I think that this is actually going to work out better. I typed in bunny ears and used that as the ears. They will have a little headband piece, so you want to make sure and put it behind the whole head, you know, move it back to the back. And I think that that's going to work out fine. I know that his ears are bent forward, but that's, you know, again, to get the most stamp space and to fit the most pieces on and stuff like that, I think that that's probably the best options that we could do, removing and adding things. But we're moving quickly, so let's move on to Toy Chica. Toy Chica, of course, is, I'm going to do it without the beak. There is a version that does have the beak in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but this version I'm going to do the kind of scarier looking one, I would say, because it doesn't have the beak. We're using the arm pieces of the golem for the shoulders, but then using the mecha, which is also the source object, we're using the mecha's lower pieces of his arms. So for kind of the hands and things like that, we're going to have the mecha. You can use the golem legs as well. The leg pieces, it's the upper thigh, I guess, the thigh pieces of the golem, and basically double that for the legs right here for our Chica. We're going to put on some feet a little bit later. We're using that same golem shoulder piece that we have as our Toy Chica's shoulders right now and color those black for the eyes. And so we're using the general 29-page library arm piece. This is something that you get, again, from that generic library. If you click on the stamp icon, you can kind of see that arm-leg connector piece. That's where you get that from. I've discussed this in many different episodes, so hopefully if you're a regular to my series, you know where to find that. I should really do some kind of like best practices episode where I show you like tips and tricks of the object editor and things like that, best practices. These are dragon feet right here. I'm not sure if we're going to keep those. I'm just having them as a placeholder at the moment. We've got a bib. I can't put on Let's Party. You know, it normally says Let's Party, but that would take like 10 stamps to get all of that, and we don't have the room. You know, we don't have enough stamp space. Again, we're stretching them thin with all of these characters. You know, the stamp space is quite limited in Scribblenauts Unlimited. You would think with a name like Scribblenauts Unlimited, we could have tons of stamp space, but we don't. So here, we'll go back to the 29-page library, and there might actually be a better shape that we can use for the feet, because I'm looking at this kind of orc-looking character, and we'll just take his foot right there. Chica does have these kind of dinosaurish-looking bird feet or whatever. You know, it is a robot animatronic creature, I guess, so we'll go ahead with that. You know, those feet do look menacing and everything like that, but I think it fits. I think it fits the theme of Toy Chica. The mouth, we used a yarmulke, you know, the little Jewish hats. We've used sphere, of course, for the little cheeks, the pink cheeks, and then a half sphere or hemisphere. If you're playing in Scribblenauts Unmasked, please type hemisphere to achieve that for the rosy cheek that's on the right, or it would be the character's left and our right. So this one's going to be interesting. We'll go a little bit slower for this. This is going to be for Mangle, of course, that's like the remade Foxy or whatever. We're taking this helix shape. That's what you would type in if you're on Scribblenauts Unmasked. It's called helix. It looks like a spring. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, there's a whole library of geometric shapes that you can pull it from, so we'll do that. Now, if you notice what I'm doing with, I typed in eye, I made it big and then tiny and big and then tiny. That's a basically a product of the object editor. Another kind of best practice tip that you can use is if, you know, we started off with a pole as the source object, so we can't put things on it too far away from the original source. So you resize it to a bigger size, and then it can go further. You know, you can move it further, then shrink it back down to the size you want. It's sort of a delicate process. I did it a lot with my GLaDOS GLaDOS. So if you've seen the Portal GLaDOS commentary of Scribblenauts that I did, where I created GLaDOS, you can see kind of how that is made there. We'll use a shark fin. I just typed in shark and grabbed the fin from it. We'll use that for the kind of, I guess you would call it hair, the tufts of hair that are coming out from the Foxy type head. Of course, because Mangle is just a big mess of an animatronic. All the kids supposedly have messed with it and were quite rough with Mangle, and so it's all just broken up and scary looking. It's funny because some people were telling me in the comments on the first Scribblenauts where we created the first game's characters, they were saying, dude, Five Nights at Freddy's isn't scary, you should totally play it. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'm not like scared where I would have nightmares and things like that. I'm not too scared to play it or anything. I just really don't have enough time in my life. I really don't. Unless I'm gonna put something on YouTube, I can't really play video games that much unless they're gonna be, again, on YouTube, because I just don't have any time. So we're using that same shoulder piece that we used for Chica's eyes from the golem. It's the golem's shoulder. That's gonna be a little lipstick piece. Apparently the kids have drawn lipstick and whatnot on the Mangle as well, on the Foxy head part. The head has actually kind of come detached from the endoskeleton's head, or is it exo? No, it's endoskeleton, right? So the endoskeleton one is that mouth that's up there. If you just type in teeth, that's how you get that. And it's got an electronic kind of for the basic head piece right there. But I do like how that Mangle turned out. I think it does have kind of a leg hanging off right there. Just like the GLaDOS, I made sure that Mangle doesn't really have gravity applied to it, so you can check a box that says apply gravity or not. So I unchecked that. Now we're moving on to, quote-unquote, the puppet. The puppet here, you have to, I guess, wind the musical box, right? In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, otherwise he will come after you. So the puppet has these striped arms. We won't exactly get that, we won't get that exactly precisely how it looks, but we can get close with this zebra print. So what I have basically is the capsule shape. It's like a little line shape that's in the geometry library. Just use the capsule shape, make that the neck, the beginning piece of the arms, and the thigh parts, or the legs, the upper leg part. Of course, if you didn't see, we started off with a mecha, once again, as the source object. Make sure you're typing mecha with an A at the end, not just mech. Those are two very different objects. And we've used a hemisphere for the chin piece of the puppet mask, that's up on the head. We've also used that same hemisphere or half sphere for his mouth, so, you just color that black. We've taken the rhombus parallelogram type shape and put that as kind of the makeup that's on the mask right there. Those eyes are actually a little piece of a fish. If you just type in fish and grab the fin from the fish, that's what I used for those eye pieces. Just color them all black. So you can see there with the other capsule shapes, we just resized them a little bit. The lower, parts of his legs, that is that zebra print for the white and black stripes. They're supposed to go horizontal rather than vertical. Right now we see them going up and down. They're supposed to be side to side, but unfortunately we can't get a pattern that's going to do that for us. So then if you also just type in button and use the button that goes on clothes, it'll give you two different categories of buttons. Use that and create 3 of them for the little buttons right there on the puppet. Of course, in Five Nights Freddy's 2, the old and aging animatronics are joined by a new cast of characters, so the puppet is one of them. They are supposedly more kid-friendly, being toy versions and things like that, updated with the latest in facial recognition technology, tied into local criminal databases, and, as the game says, they promise to put on a safe and entertaining show for kids and grown-ups alike. What could possibly go wrong? There was our puppet. We used Death as the other hands. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But here we are. I just named this BB. It's Balloon Boy. Our little Balloon Boy is basically starting off with Aiden Sagawa. That's the source object, so it is different than the other ones. Use a hemisphere for the pants right there, but then use the golem's shoulders once again for the legs, and just type in shoe for the little shoes that he's got and move those to the back, move them behind the legs. I used a balloon, stamp space again is limited, so we can't make the string for the balloon, but if you just type in balloon right there, you can put the balloon kind of on his arm like that. Capsules are the actual arms right there, as well as the shoulder of the golem once again for this character's shoulders. That's how you spell Aiden Sagawa right there, so if you are wondering, or Segawa, I don't know where the pronunciations should fall on that, but he's just sort of a short, chubby kid, and that's what I wanted. You want to make the body for Balloon Boy really big and fat, basically, so size the body up, but don't size everything else up, so just grab the body and size it, and Other than that, we used a head. If you just type in head and turn it around kind of upside downish, that's how that is. And a propeller hat. So if you just type in propeller hat, you can get the hat that we used for our balloon boy. But if you didn't see the last episode, again, you're going to be kind of lost. So here I'll annotate to it right here. But you can see we've got all of the animatronics right there. And yes, Foxy is supposed to be the tallest or whatever like that. You can download it and make it however you want. It sinks into the ground. One thing is if you're creating things, especially with the mecha as the source object, often when you remove the legs, they're going to sink into the ground like that. And so let's put our mangle in here to end it all off. Man, I made that mangle kind of huge. Hopefully that is somewhat to scale at least. But again, I'm not too concerned with that. But you can see the happy little animatronic family. We got Toy Freddy, Balloon Boy, Toy Bonnie, Golden Freddy, the puppet, Toy Chica, and Mangle to end it all off up there at the top. This is crazy. They do look quite freaky. Do the scripting, of course, as you please. I didn't want to get too far into scripting because this episode would honestly go on for just way too long, and, you guys would be sitting here listening to mundane stuff over the scripting. If I forgot something, I don't care because I didn't forget it because I ran out of stamp space. Again, I couldn't include anything else. We were very pressed for stamp space right here, so I didn't forget anything. Everything that you see, I wanted to have. This is what I wanted, this is how I wanted it, exactly how I would make it. Please feel free to use this video to inspire your own Five Nights at Freddy's 2 creations. I know you guys can do it. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. The last Freddy's episode did huge. I mean, it's hugely popular. So thank you so much if you're a newcomer to the series. As far as requesting objects for the next week's episode, these upload on every Sunday. The last Sunday of the week is random pick. So I will be randomly selecting 1 or 2 items, maybe more, from the list of requests that are only on this episode for this week. So basically, the way that my requesting system works is usually it's a top comment voting system where basically the most popular request or popular vote is the one that gets created for that week. But I do create any gaming characters or movie related characters, or I'll do things from nerd and geek culture. Anyway, I appreciate you guys' attention and I will catch you on the next vid. And thanks for... Oh my God! They're like a spectacle so you can be the viewer and...
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. Been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle.
Oh, hey, look! There's my Freddy with blue eyes, which it's had the whole time, and I should introduce myself. Hello again, YouTube! I am Dr. Kendo, and we're here with Scribblenauts Unlimited. That's the name of this game. It's in the title of every single Scribblenauts creation video that I do, and I mention it at least once in all of the commentaries. But we're actually taking our Five Nights at Freddy's creations, which hopefully you've seen the first Five Nights at Freddy's Scribblenauts episode that I did. If you didn't, I'll go ahead and annotate to it, of course, so you can find that pretty easily just throughout this episode. But that will show you at least how to create the basic Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy shapes. And I actually created Golden Freddy in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 animatronics video. I included him in that one. It's funny just because some of the comments say things like, you forgot Golden Freddy, or you forgot this thing. And I always say forgetting implies that you actually meant to do something, but you just didn't remember to do it. I never meant to make Golden Freddy in that first episode, so, comments that say you forgot him, or you forgot to make Freddy's eyes blue, which was not true either. I made Freddy's eyes blue. But, again, that implies that I just didn't do something because I didn't remember to do it, but that's not the case. But I should get on to what we're creating today. Why would we be using our old animatronic designs? Well, today we're doing something that was also highly requested, which is the withered versions of the animatronics. So it's like the old animatronics that were appearing in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. They're just all withered and whatnot. So I'm just going to call each one of them Withered Freddy or Withered Chica, Withered Bonnie, etc. So we've actually taken, of course, one of Freddy's eyes off because he does have a blacked out eye. I've seen the little white glint in it, but I've also heard people say, it's the eye missing. So it's not just like a black eye or something like that. It's like the actual eye part is missing. So just consider that dot either a piece of animatronic endoskeleton behind it, or if it is the actual black eye, then that's the glint of light coming off of it. But you probably saw we used the 29-page library werewolf's tail on Freddy's left shoulder, which would be to our right as we're looking at it, since we're facing him. But I've also taken just a piece of a tornado. So you probably saw I typed in tornado, and that's what's on his other arm on the other side, which would be his right arm, our left side. And, that piece of the tornado is just sort of one of the more bottom down low pieces that you can grab from the tornado. And there's a pattern on the 14th page of the paint or pattern library that kind of has all this like robotic looking stuff to it, circuitry, I guess, look to it. So I took that as the paint for the rips and tears that are in our Freddy right here. And I just colored it like a dark black kind of color so that, it could look as close as I could to getting it a ripped piece of Freddy Fazbear. So you'll see that kind of similar stuff again as we are now creating Bonnie. This is our old Bonnie design and stuff. I'm first actually going to edit his ears. I'm making them a little bit more decrepit. At least one of them is kind of folded over more. So I'm just going to kind of reflect that, maybe make it look a little bit more withered and whatnot. But to me, Bonnie has gone through a huge change. So you saw the circuitry that we did right there on the entire headpiece of Bonnie after we took off the eyes and whatnot. Just leave the little colored dots and paint them more red, because now Bonnie is basically faceless Bonnie, so our withered Bonnie is actually faceless, and it does have the little bottom jaw mouthpiece, but to make it look like the top part is gone, we do have teeth right there. Teeth are what I've used for the mouths of all of the animatronics that we've created in this episode, and so you actually just copy teeth again to put some more teeth back there. There is basically an endoskeleton mouth behind that, so that's just a smaller version of teeth that I put behind it. But on our original teeth, the ones from the top layer, that actually you can just color the top part of the teeth all black. If you want to, you can take each individual little tooth and paint them a different kind of color, maybe just give them the circuitry pattern or something like that. For me, I didn't want any of them showing up. The only reason that you might do that is just so that it looks kind of more circuit-ish, it looks like there's more circuitry going on, but I really like this design right here that I'm doing. And so Bonnie also is missing one of his arms, or at least most of it. He's got the shoulder part, so we have reflected that. We've taken the sticky hand that's on his right arm, again, that's to our left, and painted that the circuitry pattern color. And of course, taking this same ripped shape from the tornado, but also you see that on his arm that we took off, we've replaced kind of the arm parts with hackberry. So if you type HACK Berry, you can get that shape and basically try to remove the berries by hiding them underneath the shoulder. So you want to be sure that you can only see that stem part sticking out, and those are supposed to be like the wires, of course, sticking out of where Bonnie's arm would be. So now we're just placing more pieces of the tornado. You can find all of these little ripped pieces that I'm putting on Bonnie's thighs or legs or whatever right there for the tornado. And it's funny also, the other thing that I thought about Bonnie from previous comments and things that were kind of interesting is the majority of people don't comment with this, but I have seen, I guess, a fair amount who said, Bonnie is a girl, but not that I really care. They're animatronics, so that's just for one. You should know that they are animatronics and not human beings or something. But in my research and whatnot, I've been to the official wiki page, at least for whatever that speaks, and around Google and YouTube and whatnot, and Bonnie is a guy. He does have a girl name, but he is a guy. We did actually replace the hackberry that was for Bonnie's arm, missing arm, I should say, with root. I kind of like how the root has more coming out of it and everything. It looks a lot more wiry and things like that, so that's why I did root instead. And hopefully you saw we also used a U and just painted it metallic colored to show that there are bars sticking out kind of in between Bonnie's legs and feet. So now we're moving on, of course. This one is crazy as well. Chica now looks even more insane. Chica's always looked pretty scary to me, but Chica now is basically has a very wide mouth. The mouth is like broken open, I'm assuming. I don't know the full story there, but in FNaF 2, Chica's mouth is wide open, and there's an endoskeleton mouth within, so we'll try to reflect that, of course, in a little bit, but I'm just trying to get all of the sizing correct, basically. You want to make these teeth really big since they are going to be wide open. You can't really stretch it out in this game, which is unfortunate. That's one thing I wish so much about the object editor in Scribblenauts Unlimited, is that you could could actually like stretch or skew items, to make them fatter or taller, skinnier, whatever. But you cannot do that. And the other thing, it's like if you think I left something off of the creations, often it's because of the stamp space. So we actually do have a stamp limit, and all of these creations have gone to the max stamp limit. They are at the maximum amount, and we cannot exceed that stamp limit. So we will have to remove some things from our Chica probably to get everything that I want for the withered Chica. But this is probably about as big as the mouth is going to be open. I, of course, put an eyebrow on the back part of, Chica's beak. Oh, there we go. There's an example of the stamp limit reached. So, it says delete stamps in use to make more room. So that's a perfect example of what it looks like, when you try to put some more stamps in that you can't use. A stamp is basically any object in this game that you use to create your object that you are trying to finish, our main object, which would be withered Chica in this case. But yes, as I was saying, I'm all over the place, but we do have an eyebrow basically behind the teeth, so the big teeth right there, that's an eyebrow painted yellow to kind of to show that the jaw is going down further. And so that kind of, I think, gives it the illusion that it's more open maybe than it looks off the bat without that. And so I've done hackberry, that's what I used before for Bonnie, but then switched it out for a root. So please use the hackberry here or the root, whichever you think looks better, because Chica is missing her hands and part of her arm, I'm assuming, so that's to show the wires and whatnot coming out of her where her hands would be. So now moving quickly on to Foxy. And the reason again that we move so quickly in these episodes is because, I don't typically like to go too far over 10 minutes. People's attention spans are small, but also that's what my audience has been built around, and that's what does traditionally very well on YouTube. Now, that's not to say that somebody could make videos that are longer than 15 minutes or something, and they are great, they do successful. But I'm just saying in general terms, and this is what I like to do. I think there's kind of an art to keeping it to brevity and to keeping it short. But yes, our Foxy, we put on a sticky hand after removing some things. I removed the belly. There was an egg there for the belly of Foxy, but I removed that, and we've added the werewolf tail up there right next to the ear. Those are fox ears, by the way, up there at the top, but we went ahead and made one of those ears kind of the circuitry color and with that circuitry pattern. And we're actually, since we're so low on stamp space, I'm going here on the 7th page of the pattern library, and there's kind of a red and black pattern. And so we'll take that pattern and apply that to his arms, because that'll make it look like there's more holes in them and things like that, because Foxy already was kind of decrepit a little bit and looked, in sorry shape and whatnot in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but now he's just been withered down like crazy, so there's definitely rip marks and things everywhere that we won't be able to put because of stamp limit space. It's funny with a game like Scribblenauts Unlimited that is called Scribblenauts Unlimited, you only have a limited amount of stamp space. But yes, I hope you liked everything so far, because now we're at the last one, which will be Golden Freddy, and Golden Freddy is also in some pretty sorry shape. I mean, like all of these are, but let's see. I am actually replacing Golden Freddy's feet with the Treant feet. That's Treant. I know some people were confused on how to spell that, and I didn't show it off when I was creating Bonnie the first time around, so I do apologize for that. Also replacing all of the parts for his eyes with the shoulders that Golden Freddy has. These come from the Golem, so the Golem is the source object in this game that I have used for most of our animatronics other than Foxy. And so if you just paint that shoulder piece all black, I think that that's kind of a better shape for what his eyes look like in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And of course, I'm taking the hackberry once again to kind of have the wires coming out where his ear would be. He does have one of his ears missing. And again, the tornado for the ripped pieces, kind of just using that bottom center piece right there. We're going to put this on our Golden Freddy's thigh or leg. We'll also go ahead and make him hold a microphone right here. And another thing that I might have used in some of my creations is crane. So if you just type in crane, C-R-A-N-E, and use the bird, not the vehicle, but just take the piece of the crane bird's neck, and we'll use that about 4 times to make these wires coming out of Golden Freddy's eye. So right there, I made one of them red and the other one's white. It's not super important, color them whatever you want. I just am looking at a picture right here, and that's kind of what I'm basing it off of. And so I like to iterate to people, my videos are not the end-all be-all. You can definitely create these things kind of how you like to do it. I do please ask that you don't tell me how I could have created something better or whatnot, because, that's not helpful to me, especially after I've uploaded the video. But also, just I create these in my own art style and how I see fit, and I do try to make them look like the characters, and I thank those who say, these look exactly like the characters from the real game. So thank you, and there has been massive support. I love that the Five Nights at Freddy's creations have been getting so much attention. They've gone crazy on YouTube. YouTube, and within like 10 days, I got up to 30,000 subscribers on this channel. So I thank you very much for that. But check this out. This is going to be amazing. I've got all of them set up, and I have applied the adjective still so that they all stand still. But here's all of the animatronics that we've done up until this point. It's pretty awesome. So there's the Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the Five Nights at Freddy's 1, all that good stuff, and our new withered animatronics who are old and withered. But realizing that a lot of you have subscribed and are newcomers from those Freddy's creation videos that I did earlier on in November, I do just want to let you know, eventually we're going to run out of Five Nights at Freddy's stuff to create. I do have some more ideas that I can do for, Five Nights at Freddy's themed items and things, but we are eventually going to run out of those to create, and so I do hope you'll stick around once those are done with, basically, and we've created them all, because this series already has like 90-something episodes to it, and there's just characters from all sorts of games, and we'll always be creating new characters from new series and old alike. So again, please stick around, but I love you so much. Again, I cannot thank you enough for the support. Some of the comments have been really amazing, and you guys are, incredibly nice too. So while there are nitpickers and things like that, whom I despise, I will always focus much more on the positive comments and the great, awesome, supportive people that make up this community. And you guys are what makes it great. So I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. No, that's why I never do ad-libs, because it sounds ridiculous when I do it. Your life is kinda like a trip to the movies, and I wouldn't trade it for all of the world's rubies or diamonds, gems, things of high value. I could write a book for a live life how-to, but that's clearly not my decision to spool. I just give insight without writing rule. To speak from experience, we want the future pleasant, and we're ripping on the past and glorifying up the present. So I step on other lives' twists and turns, and I made the cycles end with dignity and courage. Now I hope to God that everyone can learn something from what I say, and hopefully you flourish. Getting down to the matter, let's look at it more. My words ain't meant to be about waging war. They're meant to bring justice to all wrongdoers. They're like a spectacle so you can be the viewer. And
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. Been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins.
been around the country and no other place is home. Nothing beats no longer feeling like I am alone. Jilted from the others, feeling like I was nobody. Never getting so much even as a hey, I'm sorry. But now those times have fallen and we can be on the rise. Moving toward the greater good and new prospects to find. It's golden clouds up in the sky and hazel when it rains. Hell blows over past and we step into what remains. It's diamonds on the sidewalk and everything's alright. Hate blew over past and we stepped into paradise. Used to get my full of hair and the red Converse too. Senseless judgment, I had no idea what to do. Now there's people at my complex wearing Kindle merchandise. An Armageddon t-shirt and this album at their side. Get yours at Dazzle.com/share Kindle for a price. You pay a little more so maybe I can get a slice. People come up at a show and say they feel the messages. It's never ending cause you just press play when my time ends. It'll be that cycle as long as the dreams stay alive. Follow spectacles to see the rest of your life.
I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives let the spectacle begin. I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives let the spectacle begin.
Hello? Hello? I wanted to record this message to warn you about some things and help you settle into the new job. This being your first night and all. There's some really terrifying stuff that goes on here at night. I mean, there's one thing I should tell you about in particular that I hope you never have to go through. No, it's not that. Trust me, these animatronics are just child's play compared to what the real terror is. No, it's not that either. Honestly, I think you might prefer to run out of power and not see what's really scary. Oh, geez. Okay. Looks like it's your last night. I guess you're ready to see it. Here we go. It's worse than anything those animatronics could do to you. It's worse than your flashlight or security cameras going out. So, here we go. It's this secret room in the back. The room full of 8 to 12-year-old Five Nights at Freddy's fans from the comment sections.
You painted the wizard gold body. It's called Spring Trap. Can you make Markiplier and Scribblenauts?
Hello again, YouTube. This is Dr. Kendo. Do you want to learn how to make the endoskeleton just like this? Well, I am going to show you. Welcome to the Scribblenauts Unlimited 100th episode of this object editor creation series. Now, what's funny and interesting about this, or hopefully it's interesting, but this is actually not the 100th episode sequentially. I have made actually several episodes around this series. A lot of them early on were not numbered, and more so, many of the Speed Create episodes were not numbered, and there was probably more of those than there were early time ones that were not numbered, and so this is why this is actually number 100, but sequentially it's probably about the 109th episode in the series. I'm trying to think. Maybe it's 108. I really should know this actually at this point, but I'm very close. Anyway, we started off with Burning Man as the source object. Isn't that crazy? I mean, this is perfect. There were so many people that were saying, you know, I don't think you can do the endoskeleton, which, by the way, I believe this is the endoskeleton from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I don't play either Five Nights at Freddy's series. That's what we're creating here. So the endoskeleton, there were just so many comments that were like, I don't think that you're going to be able to do it, and I don't think that there's enough stamp space and things like that. And so I was just waiting for this special episode to show off the endoskeleton here. You probably saw that, of course, we painted most of the Burning Man with that black and metallic color and stuff like that to get the endoskeleton parts. And then we added teeth right there where the head grid is supposed to be, as well as a skull, which I painted with that circuitry pattern in the color pattern library. We're kind of going in order from bottom to top on the endoskeleton's head. But then there are two spheres that are white with two circles that are kind of a bluish color. We're using berry right now to create the pupil of the eye. So just take a berry and then paint it all black. And then we've got hemisphere shapes for the eyelids, that top part of his eyes right there, just above the white. And then electronic, you can just type in electronic. We've used that one for the top of the head, the very, very topmost point. And then this part right here in the middle, because right between the eyes, there's sort of a pole looking shape. So I'm just using another electronic for that. You could do the ears several ways, but I've kind of landed on leaf. This is also how I did the ears for the yellow Pikmin. So I think that honestly, the endoskeleton that looks like this, it kind of almost looks like a giant skeleton of the yellow Pikmin in some ways. I know that that's a slight stretch, but I'm just saying, you know, it's like almost a yellow Pikmin shape. It's pretty interesting. And I'm not even going to begin to theorize what this endoskeleton actually goes to. I know that Five Nights at Freddy's fans, you know, I know that you guys tend to, you like to create theories and guesses on things and then kind of assume that that's reality and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not even going to mess with that. I'm not even going to touch that topic. Sticky hand, of course, is going to be continuing the trend for these animatronics that I'm always creating and stuff. So for the endoskeleton here, we've also done sticky hand and dragon feet. That's just like what we did for Foxy. The Foxy creation had dragon feet as well. Those feet might be a little bit tiny on the endoskeleton, so we'll probably resize them just in a little bit. But honestly, it didn't take that many stamps to create this thing, and I think it actually looks quite accurate. One thing about using the Burning Man as the source object is that it is gonna walk pretty funky. The Burning Man does not walk quite normal. You'll see. That's all we should leave it to. We'll do some just regular scripting. I mean, I always do scripting like this. It's very generic, especially when you compare it to the scripting that I do for many other, you know, creations that I have. So while that's going on, I just want to take a second to thank everybody that, you know, you guys are amazing. Anybody who's supportive, you know, you're incredible. I know that with all the fame that all of, you know, you new subscribers have given me and everything like that, there's also increased viewership, which is great. I love it. But then there's also, that's going to mean that there's a lot more nitpickers and haters and things like that and stuff. So we're still balancing it out, and you know that I focus on you guys, the positive ones, much more. I did want to show you actually though, before we move on, strawberry is also another potential thing that you could use for the ears. Again, there are kind of several things that you can do for the ears. So just try to grab anything that's kind of this general shape and pick whatever you like, honestly. You could also create the ears the way that I've done it with the leaves, but then basically make a darker leaf within those leaves that we have right now on the outside. So the darker leaf would kind of be the inner part of the ear. You know how his ears sort of have a dark color on the inside, basically like a dark blackish color. So yeah, but kind of just to finish my thoughts out, I did want to say, you know, some people love the Five Nights at Freddy's things and request only that, you know, and that definitely has been the most popular requests over time and whatnot. So you can see all of them here, every single one of them except for the new Five Nights at Freddy's 3 animatronic. They're all in a line here. One thing about this is I did not change the behavior or whatever. The Burning Man will not just attack the human that we put down. We put down this thief. He doesn't attack it right off the bat, so I did do the adjective hostile. You can also change this by, of course, scripting it to attack humans or something like that, you know. So this is what I'm showing you. It looks good. It looks like everything is right, except for, of course, as I mentioned, it's gonna move very strange. You can see that he moves kind of derpish, and it's quite funny. So sorry that he doesn't move better. But honestly, I think that it looks great. I think that, you know, this is one of my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's creations that we've done. But here, I keep getting on tangents and I keep getting lost in what I'm saying, but I was gonna say, you know, of course, the Five Nights at Freddy's items, they were the most popular requests, like every single week. But just to appease other fans and to get other fanships and other co-cultures, you know, like the SpongeBob fans and the Big Hero 6 fans and the, you know, there's so many things out there that we can create. I do honestly hope that everybody recognizes that I do wait in between episodes before I do another FNaF themed object. So, you know, some of the complaints sometimes are like, when are you gonna stop doing Five Nights at Freddy's? Or like, can you wait 5 episodes before you make another Freddy's item? And it's like, honestly, I do wait a lot of episodes. You know, I give enough time where I'm doing other creations. You've got to consider that there are 100 what episodes I just said, you know, 108 or 109, and like maybe 10 of them at this point are Five Nights at Freddy's, if even. You know, I think it's more like 8 probably at this point. And honestly, I'm denying myself fame by doing that, you know, just to appease those people who are nitpicking about it and who are sometimes being a bit rude about it even. But just to appease everybody, I'm actually denying myself more views and more subscribers. So I will always continue to try to just do what's best for the most amount of people. So for me, that's kind of striking a balance between sometimes we'll do Five Nights at Freddy's type objects, and then a lot of the times we'll do other objects from other series. But all in all, I'm not referring to you if you didn't make those comments. So if you didn't make comments like that are rude or nitpicking or anything like that, then you know what? You're one of the great ones. You're one of the ones I love, and thank you so much. This series is huge and expansive, especially compared to when it first started. I mean, this series has become something greater over time, and it just keeps getting greater and greater, and a lot of that has to do also with you guys out there, guys and gals, I should say. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really, your support means the world to me, and let's continue moving this thing forward. There is no stopping it! So thank you so much. I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. Your life is kinda like a trip to the movies, and I wouldn't trade it for all of the world's rubies or diamonds, gems, things of high value. I could write a book for a live life how-to, but that's clearly not my decision to spool. I just give insight without writing rule. To speak from experience, we want the future pleasant, and we're ripping on the past and glorifying up our present. So I step on other lives' twists and turns, and I made the cycles end with dignity and courage. Now I hope to God that everyone can learn something from what I say, and hopefully you flourish. Getting down to the meta, let's look at it more. My words ain't meant to be about waging war. They're meant to bring justice to all wrongdoers. They're like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer. And
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins.
been around the country and no other place is home. Nothing beats no longer feeling like I am alone. Jilted from the others, feeling like I was nobody. Never getting so much even as a hey, I'm sorry. But now those times have fallen and we can be on the rise. Moving toward the greater good and new prospects to find. It's golden clouds up in the sky and hazel when it rains. Hell blows over past and we step into what remains. It's diamonds on the sidewalk and everything's alright. Hate blew over past and we stepped into paradise. Used to get my full of hair and the red Converse too. Senseless judgment, I had no idea what to do. Now there's people at my
complex wearing Kindle merchandise. An Armageddon t-shirt and this album at their side. Get yours at Zazzle.com/share Kindle for a price. You pay a little more so maybe I can get a slice. People come up at a show and say they feel the messages. It's never ending cause you just press play when my time ends. It'll be that cycle as long as the dreams stay alive. Follow spectacles to see the rest of your life.
I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives let the spectacle begin. I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives let the spectacle begin.
A note, this episode will only feature the Five Nights at Freddy's Purple Man Easter egg. That doesn't mean that I forgot something or forgot somebody. I didn't forget anything or anyone. There we go, now we can enjoy the video. Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo, and I'm here with Scribblenauts Unlimited. That's the name of this game right here. It's in the title of all of these Scribblenauts creation videos, and of course I say it in the intro of a lot of them. Starting off with the source object of a golem. The reason we've been starting off with this object a lot is because it's of course been on my mind and whatnot as a good source object lately, but it's also for the plethora of Five Nights at Freddy's themed objects that have been created, I guess lately. I did try to make some other objects. I wanted to be sure that the whole channel didn't just turn into Five Nights at Freddy's creations. I mean, I will still keep them up and whatnot. You gotta kind of appease both sides, you know, help both sides. But hey, I hope that my Five Nights at Freddy's friends, subscribers, are also into other things because, you know, I have 102 episodes, I think, in this series right now at the time of this recording, and they're from all different kinds of games and movies and things like that. So this is obviously going to be a very highly requested Five Nights at Freddy's object right here. It is the Purple Man. That's what I'm calling it. A lot of people have asked, you know, hey, can you make the Purple Man? Some of them had said the Purple Guy. So, you know, whether his name is Purple Man, Purple Guy, I really don't care. Everybody's gonna have their own kind of opinions on these things that are either glitches or secrets or Easter eggs or anything like that. You know, whatever it is. I mean, like, I don't even have a concept of that. I just know that the internet is ablaze with, I guess, theories and whatnot about who this Purple Man actually is, but it is a Five Nights at Freddy's Easter egg character. So that's who we are creating, and kind of in line with the Golden Freddy and whatnot, you can see that we took off the bottom legs of the golem and just moved those thigh parts, the upper legs, up, and now we've taken the treant feet and we've got those down kind of in the position that they should be, although it's going to be sort of a sweet mix between his arms and the feet down there. Just sort of, you know, how low do the feet actually go down and how low do the arms actually fall down. And of course, this is an artist rendition, so it doesn't have to be 100% exact, like, you know, some comments might want it to be, but whatever. We just typed in fist, you know, you can type in hand, it's all the same stuff, and we're gonna put a microphone in that side, and then I'm probably just gonna use the sticky hand, I think, for the other hand. I think that the sticky hand is sort of a good representation for a lot of how the Five Nights at Freddy's hands look, and this was another thing, you know, you can see me kind of rotating the head a lot. I have been sort of debating whether the head should be kind of up like that where it's a little bit taller, or more the wide, normal, human-shaped head. But if you see a picture of the Purple Man, which we will show at the end, it sort of, I think, looks better like this, although I just, again, I keep bouncing back and forth. And here, you know, I can't wait until I make my best practices and tips for the object editor, because you probably won't know where those eyebrows come from. Again, it's something that I use almost every episode. It's called the 29-page library, as I call it. It's the just library of generic shapes, general Scribblenauts shapes that range from arms, heads, legs, of all different types of characters that are in this game. But it's like, you know, they'll have the Tooth Fairy in there, but it'll be different than if you actually just typed in Tooth Fairy and took her arm, you know? So it is a little bit stylistically different. So this is where we have taken the sticky hand and put that on the other arm over there. It's to our right, but it's the Purple Man's left arm. So now he's got a sticky hand. But, you know, on a separate topic, as you're seeing me create the rest of this, I hope everybody has been enjoying their sort of holiday break break, holiday experience, whatever that might be if you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus, Christmine, any of that stuff. As we're naming this Purple Man, I'll just kind of finish my thought. I was basically just going to say that, of course, this video is a continuation of, if you haven't seen, back on Christmas Day, I actually uploaded a video that was talking about, we're going to have the 5 days of Kendo Christmas. So on my channel here, there's just kind of 5 special videos in between Christmas time, December 25th, up until New Year's Day, January 1st, ringing in Christmas and the New Year with this sort of special plethora of videos. And it's a small plethora, I know, it's just, I am crazy busy. For those who don't know, I am married and I have 2 dogs and a full-time job outside of YouTube. That alone, already is like crazy as it is, but then trying to run a YouTube channel where I wear about 7 different hats just to operate it, things can get pretty crazy. Now we'll take a circle though. We want to kind of complete our Purple Man by giving him this badge. A lot of people, have speculated as to what that might mean, is this the phone guy or something like that, or is it somebody else? But the Purple Man has this badge that's basically on our right again, but it's to the left peck, I guess, of the Purple Man right there. So you just take the circle shape, then put the sphere shape right there, smaller within it, and then we're using the letter C right there. So the letter C is kind of like the little top part of the badge. Just shrink it down and proportionally, I guess, create it like this. And we've also taken the neck of the crane. This is a common thing that I like to use. Basically, anytime I want something that's kind of thinly shaped, I like to use that. But this is going to be sort of that like red ribbon-ish stuff that's dripping down from the badge. If it's not ribbon, I don't care. I'm just looking at a picture and there's just this little sort of red line that comes out of the badge. I don't need to know what it is. That's cool. I'm just putting in that detail. So this is great. I wanted children to be afraid. Some people speculate, I guess, whoa, what's going on right there? That was insane. I just accidentally put the child on top of the Purple Man and he started dancing for some reason. So let's actually make our Purple Man be still. You can just type in the adjective still if you don't want them to be moving around or anything like that. I like it. It's very Purple Man-ish. Very much like so again, I'll show the picture of it. But yes, some people speculate that the Purple Man is a murderer of children. So, I made sure that the children would be not only afraid of him, but also you can make it to where if he is actually mobile, he can destroy the children. If you want to go into behavior and just do destroys and then do children. So we're also doing this little tear that he's got, just some more details. He's got a little torn piece right above his feet, I guess, kind of on his leg. And also those little U shapes, those are to represent kind of the part in between the feet and the animatronic leg. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Maybe this is kind of speed create-ish, but I will actually count it as a normal episode within the series. So hey, I hope everybody enjoyed seeing this creation. We will be creating some of the other Easter egg animatronics. Again, I should say some. I don't think that I'm going to create everything like Balloon Girl and whatnot. I mean, you'll just have to see. I will create some of the others though, especially if they take some degree of like creativity or creation, editing. It's not just something that you can type in and recolor or something like that. Thank you for the gift of your kindness that you've given to me if you're one of the supportive subscribers. Anyway, I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns.